Says the stream is live. We're live now, Chris.
Woohoo!
Thank you. Thank you so
So nice
much
to
for
hear your
agreeing to
language
come on
again.
today.
I love that.
I know. It's been several years.
You're kind of cutting off for some reason.
Am I cutting
Can't hear
off?
you were, but it must be your Wi-Fi because you're a little blurry now.
Okay. Let's see what's happening. Let's see if we can't get that fixed. I'm looking to see if they're trying to send me a message. Is it still blurry or
It's
choppy?
better. It's better, and I can hear you better now. So
Okay. Let's see if I see my. It's better now. Somebody's telling me it's better now. We're live. Pat is not here. Oh, she's MIA. How about that? Okay. Well, we're live, and welcome, Chris, to the live Q&A session with the real estate excellent inner circle. And we are so honored to have you here with us today. We're going to go through a series of questions, and you're going to bring us your knowledge, your wisdom, and ideally some good tips for where we're at in the market today.
wonderful. I'd love to do that. And thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you. So Christophe is with Coldwell Banker and has been for many, many years. He is noted as one of the top luxury realtors in the country. And it's an honor to have you. I've been here with you before through Call Toni Real Estate Radio. And here we are again today. Technology is a little different, but for the most part, we are, we're in the same game here.
That's right.
So let's get it started here. I really want to talk about, your guiding force in the Beverly Hills real estate market over 3 decades now. Wow. Can you share? Yeah, I know, right? I want you to share a little bit, Chris, about what initially drew you into real estate.
It was actually a total fluke. My wife now of 33 years, we were dating. Wow. I was 18, and I was a fashion model at that particular time. So I was traveling quite a bit, 2-3 months at a time in foreign countries. And I don't think she liked me hanging out with models all the time, out late at night, having fun around the world. So I got back from a 3-month trip to Europe, and we're sitting and talking, and she says, "You need a more stable job." And, I was 18 years old. And I said, "Well, what did you have in mind?" She says, "How about real estate?" So as a young 18-year-old, I thought, I can be my own boss. I can drive a fancy car. I can show pretty houses and make a lot of money. I didn't realize or understand what's involved in real estate. So I took a home study course. I remember laying on the beach in Saint-Tropez at the Club Saint-Consanque, reading my study books, came home, took my test, passed immediately, and got my license, and I started working. So it was just a suggestion from her that took, and I thought it was a great business for me, and I've been there ever since.
Yeah. Wow. So you actually developed a passion for it. It's kind of interesting coming through the fashion business. That was one of the things that I took note of, that you're very stylish and very, very well, presented. And
thank you.
More importantly, you really knew how to work with your clients and high-end clients. So thank you for sharing that. Now you've got a client-centric service approach, and that was one of the things that I knew from years ago when I interviewed you before.
Yes.
You really took client services to another level, and let's just talk about that and what motivated you to really look at it from a different perspective, a high-end perspective.
Well, first of all, my first job was at John Douglas Company. You remember that company back in the day? And I remember I was 18 years old at our first holiday party in John Douglas. Our president, I said to him, "What advice would you give me as an 18-year-old young guy starting out in real estate?" He said, always do the right thing and take care of your clients. So I was kind of raised that way anyways. So it made natural sense to me. And the bottom line is,
Yes,
if we don't take care of our clients, we're not going to have any business. And, we have to create such a
that's right.
wonderful experience that they want to keep coming back to you over and over and over again. And let's face it, in real estate, there can be a lot of challenges and bumps in the road on any deal. I don't care if it's an all cash deal at a big price or a small first time buyer deal. There's always challenges. And it's our job to help navigate that, help keep our clients calm and
Looks
keep
like we're
them
having,
focused on the end goal. And so I always thought, okay, who is the client? And if I was them in this particular
yeah,
situation,
yeah,
and I think about who they are, what the situation is, if they have a family or they have a job or whatever stress, and I try to forecast and prepare for the potential stress and try to take it
we're
away
having
from.
some.
Yeah, your internet is, mine is fine, but your internet is a little bit off. Can you hear me?
I barely, it seems like we're having a lot of, I don't know what is going on. Both of us are going in and out.
Oh, you're back.
You're back. Okay. That was crazy, huh?
Yeah, I
You're
think
having
it's
a
your
bit
internet
of
because on my side it's clear. Yours now you're clear again. So, but anyways, we're back.
okay. Okay. Well, thank you for bearing with us with these technical challenges. Never a
Exactly.
dull moment, right?
Exactly. There's always blips in the road.
Always blips in the road, just like real estate. So
Yeah.
we just navigate through it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just talk about the market challenges per se. We hear about different challenges happening in our market today, and we've experienced it before with the 2007 2008 kind of a dip. What would you say is today's biggest challenges for agents?
I think the biggest challenge right now is there are a lot more agents in the space, number one. Today in particular, I think,
Mhm.
uh, a lot of buyers are a little bit fence sitting right now until the election is over. As are sellers.
Yep.
Sellers don't want to reduce the price or do anything until the election is over. I think
Yeah.
the AR, changes that happened this year have been a big challenge to a lot of people. But,
Mhm.
challenges are just part of life. When I was 18,
Mhm.
it
Yeah.
starting in the late 80s, and then we had the early 90s crash, which was pretty bad. I don't know if
Yeah.
you were in business at that time, but prices
Yeah.
went down 30, 40% and 50% in some cases, right?
Mm.
And then we had the
Mhm.
mid 2000s crash. So, look, the bottom line is every day there are challenges and there are
Sure.
problems. So, we just got to get over it. And bottom line is our clients are paying us and hiring us to help them achieve their goals, regardless of the circumstances of the world
Exactly.
or the economy. I remember when we had the earthquake in '93, we had all
Right.
these escrows and people like, oh my God, no one's going to buy. And are they going to cancel escrows? Hey,
Yeah.
it was an earthquake and we were living in earthquake country. And,
That's
some
right.
canceled and some didn't. And some had damage, some didn't. We just got
Yeah.
to keep moving forward every day in a positive direction, dealing with what we can do to fix or take care of an issue. And if
Hmm.
not, we let it go and move on to the next one.
That's right. Yeah. You're absolutely right, and I found that true to be in all industries. You know, you're always going to have blips in the road, and you're always going to have challenges. And a lot of time, those challenges are exactly what brings you to opportunities. You know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's when I remember my business just really took off when we were in the crash, and a lot of people were having challenges, not just clients but
Yeah.
agents. And you know, I took the opportunity at that time to just lean into it and help as many people get through the crisis as possible.
Exactly.
And, when we had the pandemic, we dealt with that, and everyone thought we were going to crash then, but we didn't.
I
We
remember
really,
doing videos pretty often once the pandemic started. I truly believed the market was going to be fine. So I kept doing
Yeah.
videos, and it was a bit scary because I could be saying everything's going to be fine. I think the market's going to improve. Prices are going to go up. But that was putting myself on a limb because really none of us really know what's going to happen, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
but I always believe in that kind of thing. And, we all have challenges. I remember one year, this is before the crash of 2007. I think it was 2006. I'd gone 4 months without a closing. I mean, 4 months.
Wow.
When you're in business and you've got listings or not so many listings, and every month our expenses are the same, right? Our
Yep.
mortgages, our
That's
everything.
right. Yep.
But then 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, 4 months, your bank account goes down to like nothing, and I'm like, oh shit, what
Exactly.
am I going to do? But luckily, my wife was supportive. My coach Tom Ferry was supportive, and I
That's
remember saying to Tom and my wife, I've been working for 4 months, every day making my calls, coming to the office, and nothing's happening. I said I might as well have just stayed home and not work for 4 months. It's like,
mm,
no, no, no. You put the energy out there, and it'll come back. So
that's
it was
right.
literally, it was literally 4 months without a closing, and I remember it so well. I felt like I was, what a vortex is, like those downward spirals.
Sure.
I felt like I
Sure.
was in a vortex going down a dark tunnel. But I
Yeah.
came to work every day, did my affirmations every morning, my
Yep.
goal setting, all that stuff. And magically, and at this point, my highest sale price was like 5.5 million at that point in my career in 2006.
Yeah.
I was at the office on a Sunday morning at 8 o'clock, and
Mm,
cell phones weren't really the thing in those days. I mean,
that's right.
I think I had a cell phone, but that was 20 years ago. There were no iPhones in those days.
Right.
And
Exactly.
I picked up my
Funny.
office phone, it rang, and it was a friend of ours. It had one of the most beautiful houses in LA. It was the wife.
Mm,
I said, "Oh gosh, Robin, what's going on?" She says, "Well, Steve and I are planning to sell the house. We're moving out of the country, and we want to meet you tomorrow morning." And
wow.
I went to the house, and I knew it was a major, major house. So I called up my wife, and I said, honey, I said, uh, Robin and Steve called me. They want me to come meet them tomorrow morning to talk about selling the house. So I said, I need to take some time today to really prepare my presentation. He had been the CEO of a big company, which he sold for hundreds of millions of dollars back in those days. And even though I was mentally and psychologically prepared, I knew the comps. I wanted to have a presentation that would
Mm,
for him in case I needed to. So I
sure.
spent
Sure.
I spent 8 hours that day preparing that presentation. 8 hours,
Wow.
made it
Okay.
perfect. So I went to meet him the next morning at 8 o'clock. I'd been to the house. I just sat with him in the entry. It was almost like a lobby. This was a 15,000 square foot house in Holmby Hills, and we're
Mm.
sitting in the entryway. I call it the lobby, and I used my scripts. I said, Steve, do you absolutely have to sell this home? He says,
Uh-huh.
well, yes, we're planning to move out of the country. I said, great. I said, are you willing to price the home to sell? He says,
Mm.
what price? I said, well, it's worth 22 to 23 million. He says, what price do you want to list it for? I said, 26.5 million. He says,
Uh-huh.
no, I want to list it for 30 million. I said, well, if I sell this house in the next 30 to 60 days, is that okay? He says, no, it was October. He says,
Yeah.
the kids are not we're going to finish the kids' school year, and we're not leaving till July. I said, great.
Mm.
And I said, do you want me to handle the sale for you? He says, of course, that's what you're here for. And he
Mhm.
says, what's the commission? And
Mm.
in those days, we didn't even have win forms. I had a typed up on the typewriter, and I had the guts, and I wrote in there 6%. And I smiled. I said, it's 6%. And he looks at me and he says, I'm only paying you $1 million to sell this house. So I'd already done the calculations in my head, right? So I scratched out the 6% and I wrote $1 million. So I listed the
Mm.
property, and then all of a sudden I've got this $30 million listing with very little cash to promote it, right? Which costs a lot of, and in
Right.
those days, I mean, today that house would be worth 65 million-ish, around there, maybe
Mhm. Mhm.
55. So I said, I didn't know what to do. So I called my company. They supported me and paid for a lot of the expenses of marketing the house. So, by the way, I took a year listing agreement because when he wanted a higher price, I said, well, then
Wow.
I need a year to sell this. And so
Yeah.
I listed it, and month after month. Oh, and there were some rooms I wanted to stage. It was a beautiful house, and the antiques and art were worth more than the house. But there was a family room and their bedroom that needed some light
Mm.
staging. And I said to the wife, I said, "Are you okay if we stage?" He says, "Nope, this is my home. I don't want to do anything. I'm leaving it as it is." So fine. So in July, before they were leaving, I
Wow.
get a phone call from the wife who says, Christophe, Steve wants to know, would you and your wife be willing to live in the house while it's for sale when we leave? I said, well, I don't know. I said, it's a big
Mm.
house. We got our house. And so let me talk to my wife. I called my wife and I said, Steve and Robin have asked us if we can live in it. She says, yes, 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 I want to do that. So we ended up living in that house for July, August, September, October, November, for 6 months. We did bring our own artwork, a lot of our personal items. I mean, it was our home for 6 months, and we did a lot of parties and events to promote the house. And December of that year, then it was a couple of days before Christmas, we closed escrow for $22.5 million and sold the house. So the story behind that is, when you're in a vortex, keep doing what you got to do. Don't worry about the outcome. Eventually it will come. And I do believe in magic and miracles. One of my quotes is, I believe in magic and miracles and love and hope every day. And those magic and miracles occur. So
they absolutely do.
So if people are watching, if you go through a challenging time, it's just temporary.
It's temporary.
If you focus on the negativity and the worries and the fears, that's what you're going to create in your life.
Yeah, that's what you're going to attract.
What you want, then that will magically come to. So that was a little story of being persistent and all that.
That was a great story, Chris. Listen, what you speak, you create, and what you think, you create. So, I know it sounds cliche. You and I both know this is real. And when what you focus on expands.
Yeah.
And it's so important. I mean, you've got to know that you have the universe working with you. Yes. And we're not running it. A lot of times we think we're running it.
I'm sure you know the book, and you read it like I do. When I was young, I was probably 15. So when I was young, I didn't have a lot of money. I was working 4 or 5 jobs. I cleaned apartments. I worked at the Hollywood Bowl. I was a valet parker. I worked at Dupar's restaurant as a cashier. I did all sorts of jobs. So, what was I going to say about that? So I would go to the used stores. I would go to the Goodwill, the St. Vincent de Paul to buy clothes because I didn't have a lot of money, right? I couldn't afford expensive clothes. And I would find great books. I found 2 books. One was As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, which is all about, what you think about comes about, and a book by Catherine Ponder called The Power of Prosperous Thinking. So those 2 books I read incessantly, and I just basically made them.
Say the name of that book again. You're for some reason the streaming is low.
Okay. As a Man Thinketh by James Allen.
That's it.
Yep. And then the other book was The Power of Prosperity or Power of Prosperous Thinking by Catherine Ponder. Any book by Catherine Ponder is great. So
absolutely.
Yeah. And I still have those books.
Yeah. Well, we've been on the same page for years. It's with those various authors. And I'll tell you, it's very powerful work, and it literally works. And it's important to practice, though, every day. It's not just when you are having an issue. You really have to practice every day.
Yeah.
And
I do my affirmations every single morning. I do my 10-10-10 every single morning. I do my meditations every night. No matter, of course, there's a day here and there where I skip it, but generally it's a habit, and anything that you do after 90 days becomes part of you. So
exactly, absolutely. Well, I know that we've been on the same page with that for years. We've also been on the same page from a stylistic perspective. I used to I still do admire all your cool jewelry and your cool stuff. And it's all energy, isn't it? It's all energy, and it's all part of the whole makeup of who we are.
And the funny thing about that is, I've always said, when you do what you love, because I speak quite often all around the country and the world at different events. One of the things, my common themes is, do what you love authentically and honestly, and people that are your tribe or your vibe will follow you. So this $30 million listing that I got at that particular time, I was doing quite well in real estate, and there was a jewelry store on Sunset Plaza that I would go to. I go on Caravan every week, right? Tuesdays, Caravan from 11 to 2. Look at the houses. So I'd start in Beverly Hills, go through the Hollywood Hills, West Side, and end up in Sunset Strip. And then I would go to this jewelry store to buy my wife jewelry. And Maria Dumont was the owner. So I'd go there pretty much once a week. And in those days, I would buy like a piece a week almost for her. And so from my love of jewelry for my wife, there was nothing for me, it was women's jewelry, but I would buy. So she would, of course, have client parties at her home. She had a beautiful home right
Mm.
outside Beverly Hills on Coldwater Canyon on
Yep.
it was 6 acres. Beautiful. The old
Wow.
Yvonne Carlo estate. It was the old Yvonne Carlo,
Okay.
which they had
Okay.
rebuilt. So, so the owner of the house in Holmby Hills, we had met him at one of the parties, and again, and then we
Mhm.
became. And this gentleman was he was Korean. He was one of the best dressed men I've ever met. Beautiful bespoke suits, crocodile shoes,
Mm.
Patek Philippe, just very not as flashy as I am, but just very elegant. So we just
Yes.
connected, and I started going to parties at their house, and so that listing came from my love of jewelry and buying for my wife.
Mm.
And a lot of my
Mhm.
other big listings came from buying at Chanel or Louis Vuitton or Dior
Okay.
over the years because you're a big customer at those places. You go to their
Yep.
private parties and you meet other
Yep.
clients, potential clients that become your clients. So
Yeah. Yeah.
do what you
Well,
love authentically, and you'll be people will be attracted to working with you.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that drives me to, obviously, that covers was covered my next thing, was all about personal goals and professional development, personal
Yeah,
and professional development. And it's a mindset thing. We all know that. So
absolutely.
the other parts of the business, you know we continue to learn. We are always in the classroom, and
Yes.
and that's something that I always share with agents. You never stop learning,
Yeah.
and you've got to stay ahead of the curve because technology changes.
Yeah.
Uh, I remember when you had the helicopter tours, and that was so cool. Now I want to know, when was the last time you did one?
Oh, the last helicopter tour was in Dubai a few years ago. I went to
Yeah.
Dubai for some parties, and but I also spent a couple days speaking at the offices in Dubai and
Mhm.
learning about real estate in Dubai because I just look, it's
Mm,
grown and grown, but I just knew that's a place that a lot of my friends and clients would potentially want to buy and invest in. So that was my
yep.
last helicopter tour was in Dubai. But I remember that helicopter tour. That was in 2006 or 2007. I
Yeah.
remember that, and no one had in those days. I mean, social media was just starting, right?
Yes. Just
Um,
beginning.
yeah. And to go back to your point about learning, I remember going to a Tony Robbins conference back in like 91 or 92. And one of the
Hmm.
things he taught was CANI, constant and never ending improvement.
That's right.
So myself, I barely graduated high school. First of all,
Hmm.
I had a scholarship to go to Bennington University in Vermont, a liberal arts private college, but I ditched
Okay.
70 days of school in the last year of high school, so I lost my scholarship. My parents took away my car, everything, because I was in trouble, right?
Right.
So
Right.
so luckily, I barely graduated, but I'm like, okay, I'm not going to. I did try to go to Glendale College for a couple of weeks, but I
Yeah.
was in highly advanced placement college classes in high school. So when I
Hmm.
started college at Glendale, they were teaching me things that were 3 years before that I learned in high school. So I dropped out of
Wow.
college.
Yeah.
Actually, I had my real estate license at the time. So, anyways, so I realized, and in those days, I was commuting to. My first office was in Hancock Park. I moved to
Okay.
Beverly Hills maybe 24 years ago. But I was in Hancock Park for the beginning of my career, and I was living in
Yep.
South Pasadena with my wife.
Hmm.
So my commute was about an hour and a half each way every day. So I thought, okay,
Wow.
I'm going to college. My
Yep.
car was my education. So in
There you
those
go.
days, I don't know if you remember, we had cassette tapes, right?
Yes.
Then it became CD, but it was cassettes in those days. I had
Yeah.
all of the Mike Ferry because I bought every Mike Ferry cassette there was. Um,
Wow.
Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy,
Yep.
Anthony. I have literally boxes in my garage I got to throw away of every. So literally, I had 2 to 3 hours of college education every single day in my car. I didn't listen to the radio or
Hmm.
music. I just simply immersed myself in learning everything I could about everything, and
Yeah.
mostly mindset.
Mostly mindset. And I'll tell you something. You are a perfect example of personal development and mindset, the power of mindset. And look at you today. I mean, you're doing amazing, and you continue to educate us. Continue to educate us. So, and we tune in because we know you're going to bring something. And as the things change in the market, you're right there with it.
And I'm
So
always
I
educating
commend you.
myself.
Absolutely, absolutely,
I
and
mean,
you
like
have to. I
I go
mean,
to
come on,
conferences
after
like
all,
once a month or every
our
other month.
business is shifting constantly. So
Absolutely. And it's shifting constantly in a quicker pace than it used to. You know what I mean? Always changing.
I believe that. Well, it's like time is going by faster. I don't know if
Yes,
anybody else really experiences it, but I think
absolutely.
that it's escalated from what it was. And I think that it's due to um, technology.
Yeah.
We're trying to keep up with all this information, and it's traveling at the speed of light. So
Yeah.
it's everything is moving quicker, and you've just got to be ahead of the curve. And that was leading into my next thing, which is talking adapting to new technologies. What do you have to say about AI?
I think AI is going to change really the way everything is.
Hmm.
I think like anything, when I first heard about it, I'm like, oh, what is this? But I always, at first I may not understand it or know it or believe it, but I study it and I use it. So I've been using AI. I think AI has a lot of valuable aspects to it. It's
Yeah,
still not us. I mean, it
right.
has to be us and who we are, but we can, it's another tool in our arsenal to help
That's
us create better content or be
right.
more eloquent or descriptive. So it's certainly valuable. And again, we're just at the beginning of AI. I mean, this is
I
just
think
started
I agree.
a year ago. So we'll
I
see how it
agree.
develops. But uh, it seems like it's the part of the future. It's just the reality.
It's here to stay.
Yeah.
It really is. And to me, it reminds me of when computers came into play. I don't know if you remember when it used to be called the superhighway,
Yes.
and we had no idea what that we couldn't do anything without a computer today.
Well, when
And
I started in '89, there was no internet. The internet did not
right,
exist.
that's right, that's
I
right.
remember when AOL first came out. Remember those little discs? Or I think they were
Yes,
discs, right? And we'd log in and would like that
yeah,
sound. Look,
it's
and it's
crazy.
it's not just adapting to what's happening now. It's not foreseeing the future. But I go to enough conferences and events where I look at other experts that's what they study and know. So I'm like, oh wow, this is changing. That's changing.
Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk. He's the
Yeah.
one who started me really on social media. We were at a Tom Ferry conference in 2007, I think it was, in the Palm Desert, and an elite group of the top members of Tom Ferry coaching. And I remember
Yeah.
Gary talking about, um, you know, Google had just purchased YouTube. And he says, you need to be
Oh
on
yeah.
social media platforms and you need to start doing videos because if you do videos, you're going to start getting placed up higher in the search results of Google. So
Hmm.
that made sense to me because at that time before that, I mean, I had a website, of course, since the internet came out, but I would have to do a blog, right? I'd go to a party or an event or a house, take photos with a
Yeah.
camera, not even with a phone, it was a camera, upload them, download them, write
Yep.
I'm not a writer, so I'd have to write an article, which I was not good at. It would take me 2, 3 hours to do that, right? One post.
Sure. Yeah.
So when he said do videos, I thought, oh, this is turn on a camera, I can talk, no issue. I'm a Leo, so that's easy for me. So that afternoon, he said at the meeting, he said, Christophe, you're Mr. Beverly Hills, your lifestyles are the rich and famous. You got to
Hmm.
start doing videos and be a DJ for content in your community. It's exactly what he said. So that
Mm.
afternoon at 5:30 in Palm Desert, I got in my car. I went to Best Buy or Good Guys or one of those
Yeah.
electronic stores. I
Yeah.
bought a flip. Remember the flip cams? Flip cam.
Yes.
I bought a flip camera. I bought a tripod, and I did
Wow.
my first video on the balcony of the hotel that afternoon with my assistant. And I said,
Wow.
"What the heck am I doing here in 118 degrees in Palm Desert in the middle of August? Uh, where
Oh
it's
my
hotter than heck." I said, "I'm here
goodness.
to learn, grow," and so that was my first video. So I
Wow.
will always listen and learn, and I will take on things that work for me. So video
Yeah.
was just an automatic, natural thing. And I did my first video on YouTube that day and created a YouTube channel. Also, he said go on social media, which I was not on anything, but I started.
Hmm.
He said something also that was great. He says between 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, you're working in your business.
That's
From
right.
8 o'clock at night till midnight, you work on your business. So I
Uh-huh.
work in the day, come back home after work, and I'd be like, okay, today, Facebook, let me go on Facebook, let me create an account, let me put some photos,
Hmm.
let's see what the platform is. LinkedIn. And
Wow.
back in those days, there was no Instagram. There was, so
Yeah.
I took on one chunk a day. Okay, I figured, okay, every day, Facebook,
Yep.
Tuesday, LinkedIn tomorrow, whatever. I think Twitter was around then. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always learning, and I'm always trying. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and I don't do it.
Right. There you go. There you go. That's awesome. Chris, it's been so amazing having you back. I say having you back because I feel like we've we've had that connection, and I really appreciate you. I
We
love.
connected right away, and that's why when we
Yes,
first started
we
the call, I
did.
said, I'm not a singer. Reunited, and it feels so good.
That's so funny. That is, who was that artist? That was, uh,
Oh, shoot.
God, it's at the tip of my tongue.
Look, I
I
like all
should
the
know. I
old
was
70s and
was
80s
dealing.
music, right? Was it, oh,
Yep.
shoot.
Yeah.
Reunited.
So I've got a question here. Somebody's popped up. What advice would you give to new agents about developing a resilient mindset in the face of rejection or setbacks?
Okay, so great question, by the way. Thank you, Jason. So first of all, do you want to live in the rejection and the setbacks, or live in your future and who you want to be? So number one, if you're not doing it, you got to do affirmations every single morning. Number one. Number two, you need to write down your goals every single day, right? And spend 15, 20
Wow,
minutes in the morning focusing on what you want, not what's happening. That's a very, very important
that's
factor.
right.
But you have to focus on where you want to go and what you're going to do. Another exercise that I do that's been very helpful is it's called 10, 10, 10. You write down the 10 things that
Mhm.
are bothering you or worrying you. You have to write them down. Write down the 10 things that you want to achieve and your goals. And then you write down
Mhm.
the 10 things that you want to feel today. Like, what is it you want to feel? And I remember when Tom
Mhm.
Ferry first taught me that, I thought, why would I want to write down the things that are bothering me? So that's like negative
Mm,
enforcement, right? But
right.
when I talked to Tom, I says, well, you're getting it out of your head and on paper
Yep.
and you're releasing it. And I remember
That's right.
years and years ago, Tony Robbins taught, like when you have a stressful situation or a problem, he says, you take it. He says, you take a little box, you put the fear, the worry, the situation. If you can't fix it right now, just take a mental box, take 20
Yep.
seconds, put it in the box. And let me put this, my worries, fears, and things, let me put it down over here for right now. And let me
Mm,
focus on what I can do. And that's,
mhm.
I still use that technique today. So again, affirmations, write down the 10 10 10.
Yep.
Meditation is very good at the end. Look, how you start your day and how you end your day is how you are. So at night, look,
Right.
I'm not so good at just regular meditation, like in silence. That's hard for me. So I do guided meditations, and
Nice.
I've been doing them for many, 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 many years, and they're all guided. And I can't believe I forget her name right now. Let me just take a look. Uh, Kelly Howell,
Oh
K
yeah.
L Y Howell. I'm sure you know her. So she's been
Mhm.
doing this for probably 25 years. So I do
Wow.
all of her guided meditations, and they also have embedded subliminal things in the in
Mhm.
the in the things you listen to. So
Yep.
that I do every single night. And there's some you can just listen to for 30 minutes and pay attention to. There are others you can listen to as you're falling asleep, and it gives you the
Mhm.
subliminal messages. So I'm always
Right.
putting good stuff in my mind, and I don't watch the news. I don't watch anything negative
There
in the
you
news.
go.
No CNN, which is called constant negative news, right? I just don't watch the news. I
Yes,
just don't watch it.
for sure.
Especially today, if anything serious is going to happen or is happening, you're going to find out of it on social media. So I don't need to watch the
Yep.
news. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm ditto on that big time. The news is toxic, and
absolutely,
it's designed to install a lot of fear,
absolutely.
and it's intentional so that they can control the masses. Okay, so if you
Yeah.
are watching that, you're going to be infected with it without question.
That's a whole
And
conversation about controlling the masses. You and I know that, Tony. Jason,
yeah,
thank you for the question. That was a great question, by the way.
that
So
was
thank
a question. That was a great question. Thank you. And there's another question here. Gerald Tolentino, how did you initially identify your niche in the luxury real estate market? And what strategies helped you establish yourself as a top agent in that area?
that's another great question. Thank you, Gerald. So first of all, when I started out, I was not in luxury. I was in Hancock Park. My first, this is a funny story. My first year in real estate. Well, first of all, when I turned 18, I was living in Los Feliz at my parents' house, and there
Okay.
was a John Douglas office literally 8 blocks from our house. So I went to interview at that office. I forget the name of the manager. But anyways, I went to interview with her, and she said, "What are your goals?" I said, "I want to make $1 million a year and drive a Rolls Royce." And she said, I don't think you're the right fit for the office. So I
Mm.
was kind of devastated, because I'm like, why wouldn't they hire me? So anyways, I brushed myself off quickly, and I'm like, okay, what's the next closest office? It was Hancock Park. I went to Hancock Park. I interviewed with the manager, Joe Love, who I'm still friends with now, 33 years later, or 34 years later. And she interviewed me. She says she hired me. So I went to the office every day. I did floor. We had floor time in those days, floor
Oh
desk,
yes,
up
yes.
calls. I did
I
that
remember
maybe
this.
5, 6 times a week. I'd sit there for in those days, you had to sit at the front desk and just wait
Yep.
for calls. But nothing ever came of that. And I had no listings. So I was doing 2 open houses a week. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
happened.
Mm-hmm.
My first listing the first year was a $43,000 co-op. I don't even know how I got that one. And I sold it, and my commission was $1,735. That was my total take-home commission.
Wow.
So I basically was it yeah. So after about a year or so, the manager called me in the office and she says, "Christophe, you've been here for a year. You've only done 1 transaction. You have 90 days, or we're going to have to ask you to leave the office." So I was like, "Oh, I cannot believe this, right?" I'm doing 2 open houses a week. I'm doing floors, and nothing's happening. Oh, 3 weeks into starting, I got a floor call. Met the guy. It was a $1.6 million house, which was huge in those
Mm.
days, right?
Yeah, for
And
sure.
met the guy, gave me proof of funds, gave me the check. With my training director, we went to meet the seller in Beverly Hills. Got the offer accepted. Turns out the guy was a fake check, scam, fake. So I was like
Oh wow.
devastated. Anyways, that was what it was. So after that, I learned how to prospect, and I started prospecting and calling. So Gerald, and to answer your question, the beginning of my career, my price range was like 200, 150, 250. When I left Hancock Park to go to Beverly Hills, I think my average price point was, I think 282,000 was my average sale. But in those days, I was doing like 60, 65 sales. I mean, I was busting my butt because I learned how to prospect. I literally got on the phone for 3 hours every single day, calling
Mm.
spark things and for sale buyers. That's all I did for 16 years. So that's how
Wow.
I started. But it wasn't luxury. It was just anything and everything in my area. How the luxury started was this was 1993, the year we got married. Uh, I think I'd made 280,000 that year, which was a lot of money in 1993, right? And
Mm.
I always believed live luxury, be luxury. So I thought, okay, I want to go on our honeymoon cruise with my wife. We want to go on a cruise, right? So we booked the Crystal Harmony 2-week cruise, a week in
Mm.
Rome and a week in Venice, and
Wow.
and that trip cost a quarter of my gross income. I mean, gross income, not net income, gross. But I didn't
Right.
know the difference in those days. So went on this cruise. It was 1,200 passengers. But I always say, do what you love, as I said earlier, and
Right.
pursue your dreams. So we're on this cruise, and one of the sea days, we're laying by the pool. This couple sitting next to us, Susan and her husband, and we started chatting. And lo and behold, guess what? I was not in Beverly Hills yet. They were from Beverly Hills. The only
Mhm.
passengers from Beverly Hills on this. Somehow the universe sat us together at the pool. We
That's
became
right.
friends. And I was in Hancock Park, and she called me. I just moved to Beverly Hills, actually, my office. And she called me and says, a friend of mine wants to, they have a 24-unit condo building they built in Beverly Hills, but they don't want to sell it. They want to lease it. So I
Mm.
met the owners, a very wealthy Indonesian family, but they were 24 units. I got the exclusive listing to lease all the units. And in those
Nice.
days, they were like 3,800 to 6,000 a month, which was a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I would lease unit after unit after unit, and made a couple 100,000 a year just from leases. It was a lot of work. But
Mhm.
that got me actually from that lease building. I mean, just one. Let me not go through all the details, but basically that meeting on the cruise with that
Mhm.
couple and what
Mm.
developed from that initial listing has
Mhm.
brought me about 2.8 million in income over the last 33 years.
Wow.
But
Wow.
I took the leap of faith of spending money to make money.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
knew in my mind, I didn't know how. I just thought, okay, I'm going to spend this huge amount of money to go on this cruise and this trip to Europe.
Yep.
But I knew somehow it would come back to me.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And see, again, your mindset, and it's action. We have to take action.
Action. Absolutely, Toni.
Have
That's
to take The universe does not understand anything uh, not specific. You have to have a clarity, and you have to take action. So yeah, we have another question here. Are there specific trends or shifts that you've noticed in luxury real estate that agents need to pay attention to if they want to succeed in this space?
I would say just first, I don't worry about those things too much, Jason. I mean,
Mhm.
whatever the shifts are, I mean, I learn about it. I know what's going on. I think there are more agents in the space nowadays, and now with social media, every agent in the world says, I look at their Instagram profiles. I'm a what do they call it? I'm an influencer, or I'm a
Yeah.
rock star, or whatever. I mean,
Uh-huh.
okay, and you got 200 followers. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, there's a lot more noise. Look, when I started doing videos 20 some years ago, no agents were doing videos.
Right.
Now a lot of agents are doing videos. So
Yeah.
the space is more crowded. So you're lesser in the space because there's too much stuff going on. So
Hmm.
you have to just pay attention. I mean, AI is another important factor.
Yeah.
But I think even though AI is there and there's more social media space, back to basics, calling your
Yep.
past clients in sphere, calling expired listings, excuse me, for sale by owners.
Yep.
Just do the basics never change.
The basics never
Never
change.
change.
Yeah. You know, this has been so inspiring because we've watched you over the years, and you've been consistent, and you've been positive, and you're constantly taking action, but more importantly, you're teaching us. You're always educating, and you're always being educated. So those are the constants, those are the consistencies that I would say agents should pay close attention to.
Yeah.
um, I'm mindful of our time.
Yeah.
Well, we
And I
can.
never share negative things. I don't share negative
That's
things. Don't ever share your religion or politics on
that's
social
right.
media. Uh, I don't like or comment on anything political, because you start doing that, you're gonna alienate 50% of your business. Your
That's right.
personal religious beliefs or your personal, um, you know, uh, uh, um, political beliefs are yours. You don't need to
Yeah,
share that with the world.
that's right.
And even like at private dinner parties, and probably people ask you, I don't really say anything. If someone starts talking about the way they feel and then we're in alignment, then we can start having a conversation. But
Hmm.
no point to do that stuff. Just focus on how you can help people. I mean, they
Yep.
don't care what your political beliefs are. They don't care about
That's
all that.
right.
They just want you to help them find a house or sell their
Hmm.
house, or a family that their parents passed away. They don't know what to do. How do they get the stuff out? How do they sell the furniture? I mean, if you give
Right.
value to people and take care of people, the rest will come to you. Don't
The
don't,
rest
don't
will
worry
come.
about what's going to happen. It'll
That's
happen.
right. That's right. You said it all there. It just don't worry about. Don't focus on the negative. Focus on what you want, and
Exactly.
be of service. That's really what we are, servants, and the rest will happen on its own. So
But I don't think we're really servants necessarily. I mean, in some ways, of course, we have to take direction from our clients. We have a
yes.
fiduciary to our buyer and seller, even though they want to do something that we don't agree with. We advise them, we educate them on what they want to do and the potential ramifications. But essentially, in that sense, we are servants because we have to follow
Yep.
through with what they request us to do. But if
Yeah.
you tell them honestly and fairly, I mean, I've lost a lot of deals over the years because I just thought it wasn't the right house for the client, and I advised them as such. Some of them
Hmm.
bought them, and some of them didn't. And but, we have to be honest and fair and take care of that. I
Hmm.
mean, that's our responsibility. That's our duty as a licensed broker, and our duty as a human being to help
Hmm.
people and
Hmm.
help them make the right decision.
Yeah. Absolutely. Wow. Well, we covered a lot. Thank you, Toni and Christophe, for all the positive insights and valuable advice. It's very simple. It's basics. It's simple, but it's powerful. So I really appreciate you taking your time today. It's very valuable.
You're
And
welcome.
we will, I know we will see you again.
Yeah.
Do you have any parting words? I mean, you've left us with a wealth of information and knowledge and insights. Is there anything that you want to, or does anybody else have any questions? Or Christophe, tell us any of your parting words.
Let me share this. I think don't beat yourself up. I know myself, I was raised in a way that my mom and dad got divorced when I was 3. I didn't know my father. My stepfather and I were like oil and water. We never really connected in a lot of ways. But don't beat yourself up. I mean, whatever upbringing you had, whatever made you who you are today, that's the past. So just keep focusing on who you want to be, not who you think you are based on the past. But look, I'm the first one to always be like, oh, I did this wrong, I did that wrong, which it's good to acknowledge where you are, but not live in that negativity again.
Yep.
Okay, I did this wrong. Okay, I made a mistake. I'm a human being. We're all human beings. So brush it off and let's make sure I don't do that again. So love yourself, be kind to yourself, because if you don't love yourself and you're not kind to yourself, you can't help anybody else.
That's right. That's right. That's a powerful, powerful statement and lesson. If you don't love yourself, you can't help anybody else.
Yeah.
And that's so, so very true. Well, thank you, Christophe. Thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Toni, always a pleasure. And you have to have lunch soon.
Yeah, we do. We really do. And I know you know the perfect
spot. You come to Beverly Hills and have a nice lunch.
That's right.
Thanks for tuning in to our Real Estate and Mindset YouTube channel. We hope you found today's episode informative and inspiring. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And remember, the key to success.
Thank you for joining the Real Estate Excellence Inner Circle exclusive live Q&A session. I hope today's insights have enriched your understanding and sparked new ideas. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more empowering real estate content. I want you to keep striving for excellence in your real estate endeavors. And until next time, we'll see you again soon. Stay powerful, stay focused, stay connected. Ciao for now.